How come? Maybe you get some sympathy. I just got very hot. I could hear Renzo on here from upstairs. Hey, Rob. What's up, buddy? Hey, Carolyn. See you soon, Rob. I could hear Renzo on here. All right. Let some people catch up. Hey, Nick. How are you, buddy? Hey, Nikki. Hope you got my text, Nikki. Thanks, David. I got to catch up with you about that other thing, too, that we talked about, David. Hope it's all going well. No, Bridget, I'm going through menopause, and it is a real thing. It's actually worse than menopause. Women, no, it's a real thing, and it's worse than menopause any day. It's a medical fact. We go through the same thing you do, but our bodies are covered with hair. It makes the hot flashes worse. It's a medical fact. Look it up. Some people jump on. Hoping we're not on here too long tonight. But, oh boy, do I tend to say something every now and then that blows up. But this one I don't regret. And I have a lot of times I'll say something, I'll say, oh, I should have said that, or hey, I should have been more clear. But no, this time it's a subject that a lot of people get really upset about. I just poured a glass, Bridget. I won't drink much tonight. It's Uncle George Remus. I have so many good whiskeys and bourbons that all you guys give me. I never know which one to go with. So I just grabbed what was out right there, and I like this very much. Hey, Julio. Kaylee. Hey, Susan. Hello, Hillary. Yeah, Hillary, I just saw your comment. You're going all the way to Orlando, and now we're going to be in Boston. Switch it. If you didn't buy your Boston ticket yet, you could. I don't think Joel would. I shouldn't say that. Hey, Terry. I saw that you sent me the videos, Terry, and I will check them out tomorrow. Phil says your post said training versus puppy classes social. I'm with you 100%, but devil's advocate, what about training plus socialization and versus training only? Well, we'll have to talk about that, Phil, tonight. I don't socialize my puppies. I don't do it. Like, I don't go out of my way not to, but we'll get into it. And I don't want to just, what's up, Derek? How are you doing, buddy? I want to hear from everyone. I just want everyone to chime in on this, especially some of our more experienced trainers. I'm doing this 20 something years, but I want to, I saw George Cockrell chime in there. I want to hear his take, because when I started training, we really didn't have these classes and issues. And I know when he started training, they most certainly didn't. It wasn't even a thing. This is more of a man-made business thing that's been created, not that long ago. But we'll dive into it, the pros and cons, and maybe we get some different takes, and maybe you change my opinion. You know what I'm saying? All right, there's over 100 people on here now. I think we could get started. Okay. All right. First, I want to go to the post that I actually made. All right. So I want to read it again, literally word for word. Word for word. Let's see what I said here. Where is it? Where the heck did it go? All right, here. This was 2 days ago, right? It's been shared, geez, I don't know how many times. Last time I checked, it was shared over 200 times, right? It's got over 1,000, 1,100 or 1,200 comments and likes and back and forth, and we get all kinds of things, right? So let's look at the first sentence. I said, if you take your puppy to puppy play dates or socializations, then get upset when you're walking your puppy or dog when they become out of control when they see another dog. You should not be shocked. Does anyone have an issue with that? Anyone? Anything there that doesn't sit? Did I say anything there that's not factual? Like, could we assume, and it's more than assuming because we all deal with so many of this, and I went through all this. Hey, Jessica, I went through most of the comments, right? But there were so many I had to stop. So you take your puppy to puppy class, puppy socialization, or a dog, and it's just a free for all. Now, everyone chimes in and says, oh, it's not a free for all, it's structured. Well, listen, a lot of the people that were saying that, no, it's not true. I know what goes on there. And the reason I decided to do this tonight, my inbox is completely full. So most of the people that are against it chimed in and said, yeah, it's stupid. It hurts the dog for sure. Not everybody. Some people that do it spoke up and said, I disagree with you. And that's what we want. At least everything was civil, right? There's no one bad talking anybody in here. But we got to look real close at this from the dog's perspective, right? Think about it from the dog's perspective. It's not natural. Whether it's a puppy social, puppy class. All right, then people will say, well, our puppy classes, where someone texted me earlier, I do puppy classes, but it's more about, the obedience around distractions. That's insane. That's insane to have an 8 or 12 week puppy trying to train it in obedience around distractions inside with dog. It's absolutely insane and does so much more harm than good. There's no other way to I don't know, Clayton. I don't know. But it did upset a lot of people. But let's face it, the people that were upset, that's a big part of their income, right? So I never want to say anything that's trying to hurt someone's um, livelihood. That's not what I'm about. Unless you're hurting dogs, then I don't care. I'll say whatever I want. I never mention places by name except for two douchebags. I use their names all the time because I don't care because they do harm a lot of dogs, right? And a lot of those messages in my inbox were from friends of mine. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is my bread and butter. This is where I make most of my money. I said, yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean I agree with it. And if someone asks me, I'm going to be honest. Whether my friends get mad at me because that's their whole business model, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie and say, yeah, it's a great thing. Take your puppy there. I'm going to tell people, no, don't take your puppy there. That's a waste of time. Right. So I read the first question. I don't see anyone saying why I'm wrong with that first question. Right. Now I say, please see it from your dog's perspective. Okay. Pretty black and white. We should always see things how our dog actually sees things. And when we don't, hey, George, I really wanted you to chime in here. When we don't see things from our dog's perspective or a puppy's perspective, they suffer. And it's not fair to them. So we always have to be very keen to how they perceive things, right? That's all I said. That's all I said, right? Please see things from your dog's perspective. Again, nothing that could trigger anyone there, I don't think. Now, it was the last sentence that I said that upset a lot of people. And I said 5 minutes of you playing and training with your puppy is way more valuable than an hour of a free-for-all puppy social. That was the statement that pissed a lot of people off, and they disagreed. I don't disagree with that statement. I 100% agree with that statement. Because here's the thing, guys. If you look, and it's not all this way, but the whole puppy class thing, the puppy social thing, the puppy bowl for the NFL, right? Doggy daycare, all that stuff. Not always. So please don't put words in my mouth. But very often that goes along with the whole force-free, purely positive movement, right? Goes right along. Not always. I'm not saying that. Not everybody does the same thing. I get it. Some people have much more elaborate spaces and setups in the way they do things. I totally get it. And there are most certainly times where the right group social like that can definitely be beneficial for a dog that has certain issues. And I've recommended some. I said that. These are all things I said in that post once we started getting back and forth with the comments, right? Hey, Terry. But for the most part, guys, this whole puppy stuff wasn't around when a lot of us started training dogs. Doggy daycare. Like just saying that word makes my penis shrivel. It gets smaller the second I say doggy daycare. It's not normal. It is not normal. It goes against everything a dog is and creates more problems than it doesn't. And there's no denying that, right? It's funny because when we go around doing these seminars, whether I'm doing them alone or with me, Jay, and Joel, we see a lot of dogs, a lot of people. We get almost, and we do it all the time, ask some questions. What's the deal here? What's going on? And we'll ask some questions. They say, well, he goes to doggy daycare every day. We're like, we figured. We totally figured because we see the same problems over and over and over, right? But there's so many different variables you got to think about. So let's talk about it from the puppy end, okay? I don't socialize my puppies. I don't do it. I don't take them out to meet a bunch of people. I don't take them out to meet dogs. I don't go to dog parks. I don't go to puppy socials. I don't go to doggy daycares. I want my dogs, my puppies, to be completely neutral to people and dogs, right? I don't punish them for saying hello to someone. I don't punish them for playing with a puppy, but I'm not going out of my way to create that. To be honest with you, I tell people, my clients, hey, you get a puppy, just get it out and expose it to different environments. That's it, right? I don't even do that much myself, to tell you the truth, but I don't want to push that on people because I do a lot of things with my dogs where I can get away with that. All right. I'm pretty truthful and open about what I do with my puppies when I do take them someplace, and I do, but it's far and few in between. It's not a lot because I don't need to. None of my dogs care if they see dogs. None of my dogs care if there's dogs around, puppies around, people around, because I make me, the human, the number one priority, and I don't force it, right? Even with my own puppies, every single one of them, from Bruno to Luca to Mango to Dante, every puppy, when I get a puppy, and maybe I'm a little overboard, I know I'm a little OCD about things, but my most important objective with the dog is to create the best dog that I can. And so each dog usually gets a little better than the last because I know where I messed up on the last one. But my own puppies don't have a lot of interaction with my older dogs in the beginning. They just don't. I keep them together socially, right? The puppy's crated with us, or he's on a leash with us. The other dogs are around. They're together all the time, socially, but not physically. When I get up in the morning and I take the dogs out, Dante still goes out separate. I take him out first by himself, always. Still, he's 14 months old. Why do I do that? I can't compete with another dog, especially a puppy, right? If I were to take a puppy out with Buddy and Luca and Mango, game's on. Dogs like to play with other dogs. They're siblings, I guess, that we live in the same house. Game's on. And then instead of creating the dog I want, it's constant yelling at the puppy. No, don't do this. Stop that. Don't do that. Now I'm yelling at the grown-up dogs. Don't do that. Leave them alone, this and that. It becomes such a nag fest and so much negativity. But as the puppy matures, and I could start telling it, hey, don't do that. I don't like that, right? Or I can call it away from a full-blown wrestling match while they're wrestling with each other. Dante, come. If he comes to me, then it's okay. I can give him that. If he doesn't, I can't allow him to interact like that for his free will because I'm creating more problems. I'm not creating problems here, but maybe eventually down the road, whether you're competing with the dog or not, okay, if he blows you off in a fenced-in yard with a dog that he's around every day, do you think they're not going to blow you off in the real world at a park without a fence to a dog he's never seen, or a rabbit or a deer? And the problem with these socials, guys, and these daycares, the majority of people, okay, tell me if I'm wrong. Anyone can speak up here, okay? The majority of people use that as everything they do with their dog. They drop him off at doggy daycare, pick him up after work. Oh my God, this is great. He's so tired. He slept all night. Yeah, what did you do with your dog? Where was that bond that you created with your dog? Where was that interaction? Why does that dog need you? Right? They don't. They don't. You become a chauffeur to and from their daycare, dropping the 12-year-old off at the arcade. And then when he gets home, he goes upstairs and plays on his video games all night. And the only time you see him is when you take him to school and pick him up. That's what you're doing. And then you're surprised when we have all these problems. We have more training available today than ever, more resources than ever. That's not necessarily a good thing, obviously, right? There's doggy daycares and boarding facilities everywhere. Spay and neuter is pushed nonstop. The shelters are more full than ever, right? Spay and neuters push nonstop. The shelters are more full than ever. There's more training available than ever. The shelters are more full than ever. So what is working? What is working? I don't get it. You can't fix these behaviors in that kind of setting. Let's take a puppy, young dog, whatever you want to do. Let's say they go every day or a few times a week to their socials or doggy day, whatever you want to call them. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That puppy or young dog may have the time of his life every day. And he may get along with every dog there until he doesn't, until there's that one dog he doesn't like, or that one dog that doesn't like him. But here's another thing that we tend to shy away from and not talk about. Puppies are puppies. They like everybody, right? So I get those calls every single day, especially a lot of German Shepherds, right? But all breeds every single day. And it's the same thing. Man, I had no issues. He was the perfect dog. And out of nowhere, he started doing this. He bit my husband. He went after the kids. He chased out of nowhere for no reason. And I'll say, is he about 9 months old? And they say, oh my God, how did you know? Like it's magic, right? So you have these puppies at daycare all this time, no issues. Then all of a sudden, 9 months old, 10 months old, 11 months old, 8 months old, they start maturing and you start seeing the real dog. Now, all of a sudden, the things that they used to tolerate at puppy social or doggy daycare, it's a no-go. And if these facilities are so good, they're not. A dog gets into a fight, what does the majority of them do? They kick the dog out. Why kick the dog out? I don't understand. You're supposed to be providing a service to make the dog better, right? So if the dog gets into a fight or attacks another dog, isn't that an opportunity to make it better? Why kick the dog out? Why do many places have to have the dog spayed or neutered? They won't take a dog that's intact. They won't take many breeds, right? I called a place here in town. My buddy who watches my dogs was going to be gone. I called a place here that has a booming business about boarding my dogs. They wanted me to bring each dog in separately, 4 dogs, wanted to interview me about each dog. And then when they wanted to give them every shot under the sun, I'm pretty sure they wanted to give them COVID and polio shots and friggin' herpes shots and everything under the sun, which I said, why? Why do you want to do that? Like, I thought you care about these dogs. It's a purely positive place, right? And then when they asked me, they didn't ask me if, they asked me what date were they spayed or neutered. What date? Like, just assuming. They didn't ask if. They just assumed, because I'm a good person, right, that I would mutilate their genitalia. And I said, they're not. Why would I do that to my dogs? Oh, we can't accept them. They wouldn't take Belgian Malinois. They wouldn't take Rottweilers. They wouldn't take pit bulls. They wouldn't take a dog with balls or ovaries. And you call yourself a dog training facility? That's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? So just today, I made a post earlier. This really pissed me off because I am very helpful to any dog trainer that calls me. Anyone will tell you, right? So if a new dog trainer moves into Nashville or Bowling Green, it's usually Nashville, much bigger, and they call me, they're trying to get their business going and they want to pick my brain and talk. I'll spend hours on the phone with someone and help them as much as I can. I've done it many, many times. I never turn anyone down. And then they always tell me when we meet how shocked they were because everyone else basically hung up on them. And I say, why? Why? They're not competition for me. There's enough dogs for everybody. I can't train. I've showed you guys at my seminar this weekend. I have 3 emails. I showed you one of them, 56,000 unread messages. So am I not supposed to share that with all the people that are good dog trainers that can help those people I can't get to? No. So I help anyone. So we got a new company that moves into Bowling Green here, Purely Positive, and I see their commercial on TV. So I look them up. And this really pissed me off because I would have reached out and say, hey, let's get together and train. They're a Purely Positive company, which I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. Just be honest about what you can do. And then they advertise themselves as the only company that can deal with aggression in the area. That pissed me off because now you're lying. Now your advertisement isn't factual and you're Purely Positive. So I'm going to tell you, you can't deal with aggression, right? So I commented and I wasn't mean, but I said, you may want to change this because this isn't factual. And if you want to compare, I could show you my experience and accomplishments to yours. Well, they deleted that. And then other people jumped on like, hey, you're not the only one. And then they tried to do the nice thing and say, oh, Masters is also in the area. I'm not Masters. I don't associate with them. There is a Masters and they're not Purely Positive. In fact, they're quite opposite. I want nothing to do with them. You understand what I'm saying? But they're Purely Positive. Hi, Thea. She's laughing at me saying, you still on that? So that really bothered me, right? And then some young lady made a comment and said, if it's who I think you're talking about, I paid my money to fix a problem. The problem's not fixed. I said, well, I tell you what, if it's the same company, I will fix your problem for free. Sophia, you haven't made an appearance in many moons since you were like a wee little tot, right? A wee little tot. So these are the same kind of people running these doggy daycares. Not everybody. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. You saw my buddy Andrew comment on here. What did Andrew say? What did Andrew say? You're generalizing. There are a ton of structured daycare facilities. I have one. The only thing I require is that the dog is up to date on vaccines. Yeah, but Andrew, the majority of them are exactly how I'm saying. And what is structured daycare exactly? Because I don't know. Right? I don't understand what that is. It's not natural for a dog. Okay, so here's my question. Let's play devil's advocate. And guys, if someone, and thank you, Andrew, for speaking up and disagreeing, because we should be able to disagree, right? I respect the hell out of you. I think you respect me, but we could disagree totally, right? And we've had really good conversations and we always will. But, and Andrew, I think you were the first one who had an issue with that last sentence. 5 minutes of training and playing with your puppy is more valuable than an hour or all day of puppy socialization, free for all, right? It is. If you take, let's say you take 100 of the best trainers in the world, 100 of the top trainers in the world, excuse me, right? If you take 100 of the top trainers in the world, many of them will be sport dog people, right? High level, Schutzhund people especially. Many of them will be pet dog people that have been doing this 40, 50 years and don't have much of an internet presence. They don't have YouTube or the interwebs or Instagram, right? There's a lot of them out there. A lot of them out there. I could almost guarantee you, almost out of 100, I'd be shocked if any of those 100 people have puppy socials or daycares or doggy daycares or send their dogs to them. So why is that, right? Why is that? Because it's a human emotional fad. It's not realistic to the dog, and it doesn't provide benefit. It just doesn't. Doesn't provide benefit. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. What it does is make the human that it should be crazy about less important. And unfortunately, it does create a ton of aggression issues later on. I know, because we all deal with it, right? We all deal with it. But most of those people, Andrew, that send their dogs to those things, the majority, at least from what myself and most people see, is that is their extent of training. That's what they do, right? That's it. That is it. If that was going to make my dog better, I'd be sending them off to do so, especially Dante. I'm going to compete with him, right? That's my goal. I want him to the highest level of obedience possible. I would send him off to doggy daycare. But if I send him off to doggy daycare, I stand absolutely no chance of competing with that dog, because they're going to destroy everything I've built with him. Everything. They don't know how to handle a dog like that. And the dog's not going to get the attention it needs and singled out on what it needs. Right? So how are we supposed to do that? What is the benefit? So can someone, I'll shut my trap. Can you guys start talking about some of the benefits that you think puppy classes or socializations or doggy daycare has? So please speak up, and I'll bring up what you're saying here, or whatever you want. And listen, guys, and like I said, there's certain groups and socials that I have recommended for several reasons, especially when it's done outside in a big enough area where a dog can be a dog, right? When I was in Scotland, structured play, Julio, Montano, structured play. What does that mean, Julio? Structured play with who? With who? Other dogs? There's nothing structured about dogs playing with each other in just a chaotic setting. Structured play with you is going to be 1,000 times more valuable than structured play with another dog. 100%. Claudia, thank you for speaking up, guys. Claudia says, puppy classes may be good for new puppy owners to learn the basics of training. They learn no basics of training, Claudia, at puppy classes. None. Because most of the people teaching them don't really have the experience to do so. And you can't teach a puppy and work on obedience at a puppy social. Can't do it. It's not beneficial to the puppy or the owner, right? It's, here we go. Bam, 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 bam. Rick, it's a comfort to the owners that they can say, I'm giving my dog playtime with other dogs. Bam, Rick. Right there. That's what it is. That's the biggest reason right there. It's the feel goods, right? Kicks you in the willy, makes you tingle. Feel real good watching your puppy. But who doesn't like to see puppies play, guys? You know what I mean? All right. Andrew says, but that being said, dogs are social beings like us humans. Absolutely. And need interaction with their own species. If they didn't, they wouldn't play as litter mates. That's not necessarily true, Andrew. They really don't need interaction with other dogs if you're providing what they're looking for. And that's where the best trained dogs come from, right? Nothing wrong with them playing with other dogs, but it should be your pack, your dogs. But it's still much more important that they learn how to play with you. Much more beneficial. Hey, Ken, much more beneficial, right? You become less important. And if the puppy is raised right and the genetics are there to keep it healthy, they will know how to play. And I'm not saying they should never play with other dogs, but most dogs that play with other dogs and are put in that situation shouldn't be. Most places that are doing it have very young, inexperienced employees controlling that stuff. No experience as dog trainers, right? Young people, 18, 22 years old, 23 years old, never trained the dog to a high level. And this isn't criticizing them. That's a really hard job, right? To watch a room full of puppies and dogs just going at it. It's true. It's just so true. I want the best for my dogs. I want the best for my clients' dogs, right? I have a dog that just got dropped off here now. His name is Hustle. He's been here many times. He's one of my all-time favorite dogs. His family had an emergency. They had to leave town, drove down a couple hours, dropped him off. Tomorrow morning, I'm already looking forward to waking up, not to let him out and play with my dogs. Would he play with my dogs? Yeah. Will he get the same benefit as me going out there to play with him? Throw a little obedience in there? Oh, hell no. Hell no. He's going to go crazy when we go out there to do things, right? And then my dogs will be going crazy in here because they want to be the one playing with me, not with Hustle. We have so many young trainers in this industry, right? And I'm not the best trainer out there. So many young people, and they're being steered the wrong way. They're just being steered the wrong way. Use food for this, use for this. Yeah, I use food to teach everything, but most people don't even do that right. Right? And that's the truth. The knowledge of classical conditioning is not there. How dogs learn, it's not there for most people, you know? But we have to do better because if you see the dogs, we have more problems than ever now with them. By far more problems than ever. And there's too many good dog trainers out there that does. And listen, I get it. Everyone deserves to make a living. I get it. And the last thing I want to do is shit on someone trying to make an honest living and treating people and dogs right. Right. But if someone can convince me that me taking 10 minutes with a 3-month-old puppy, 5 minutes is less beneficial than sending a puppy to puppy class, watching it run around with other dogs, please convince me, because I'd put any amount of money on that's so dead wrong, so dead wrong. Julio says structure play, where to go, Julio? All right, now we got all kinds of stuff. We'll have to get to this. But that's what it is, Amanda. Oh my God, there's so many things coming in. I can't keep up with them now. All right, here it is. Let me see. Julio says structure play, 2 or 3 dogs learning to play with each other and picking dogs that match each other in their personality. They don't have to learn how to play with each other, Julio. They already know that. They did that from a few weeks old to 8 weeks old when they left. They know that. That groundwork was been laid. Now it's time that you give them that same type of play. You, the owner, to create that relationship and that bond that your dog doesn't have to be tethered to a 6-foot leash the rest of its life because it cares about being with you, right? Where you can go up to the mountains and go for a hike and your dog can be off leash because the most important thing in its life is you. That's not done through puppy class or socialization, right? Puppy class and doggy daycare, that's not going to fix major dog problems. It's not going to do it. It doesn't. It just doesn't do it. Right? Listen, when I was in Scotland, me and Duke Ferguson did a seminar in Scotland. The first day we were there before the seminar started, I don't know how many people, how many dogs, but we had a big group and we went for a hike up in the Scottish mountains with a ton of dogs. That was insanely beneficial, right? You and your dog, amongst other dogs, many off leash, most off leash, right? Being dogs. Did they get to interact with other dogs? Absolutely. But what was the most important objective? Moving forward together up through the mountains of Scotland. Do you know what that does for a dog? to get out into the real world and nature and move forward with its owner, especially a dog that struggles. Put a leash on the dog and go venture on things, and you're getting over logs and rocks and creeks and bridges. That's tremendous, right? That's really good training. But that's nothing like sitting in a very little closed space and watching dogs just wrestle and hump and lick and smell each other's butts. It just, there's a big difference. There's a big difference, right? I had this argument with someone yesterday about fitness, right? So there's a lot of fad diets. And I've had success with, I like doing different things, right? So the ketogenic diet's real big, the carnivore diet's really big, intermittent fasting is really big. And I love intermittent fasting. I love it because I'm lazy and I don't like to meal prep, and I like the convenience and I like the energy it gives me, right? But I know it's not the best route to go if I was looking to get on stage totally ripped. Okay. So someone was telling me that you are better off fasting and doing keto to get in like the best physical condition. I said, okay, well, let's just go to the people that actually do that for a living and have to get on stage, whether it's a bikini model, a fitness person, a bodybuilder. They do what works, the basics, the foundation, right? They lift weights, they do cardio, and they eat properly, shooting to get all their calories through proper macro and micro nutrients. There's no secret to it. It's actually very simple and very basic, and anybody can do it. Anyone can do it. But everybody wants you do keto or the carnivore diet. And I get it. Believe me, I love doing different things too. I really do. But they're things that can't be sustained. And in the long run, they're not providing you the ultimate benefit of what you're looking for. It's kind of the same thing in the dog world. Everyone's just looking. Listen, I had to have some very serious conversations with people at this last seminar. Good people that thought their dog was a lot further than it really was because of things like this. They're not being taught what is needed to help them, to make them the best handler or trainer that they can be, or make their dog the best. And so if someone comes out and says, hey, I want to do this, and okay, it's okay, where's your dog at? They tell us. And then when we ask, all right, show me, they're not even close to there. And what do we have to do? We have to go back to the bare basics to start teaching from scratch. And they get it. And they appreciate it so much when they see what they were missing. And so a lot of people are naive. And like someone said earlier, it's just all about the feel goods of watching your dog have a good time with his new bestie, right? New bestie. But is it what's best for the dog? Is it what's best for you? No, there's no way. But someone convince me, please. I'm going to go back to the comments here. All right, let's see. George, I'd love to hear your take on this, George. Where'd George go? Let's see. We're going to get some more on here. Yeah, what's Chrissy say? Chrissy, I'm scared to click on your comment because I swear you're going to throw a Zaya ad in there somewhere. The emotions of the owner solely revolve around taking them to daycares to feel good and get them worn out. What are they actually creating? They have no relationship with their dogs, no engagement, and no foundation above all else. This is why there's so many dogs with on and off leash reactivity. The dogs don't know how to respectfully coexist with other dogs in their vicinity. Perfectly said, Chrissy. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. No matter what take your dog takes on other dogs during those play times, right? It could be good. It could be bad. It could be new. You don't know. Now the owner, who doesn't have any ability because the time's not going into the owner, goes out for a walk. Let's say your dog loves dogs, but now it's on the leash and your dog sees a dog and it's going batshit crazy because it doesn't understand why I can't go over there and play with that dog. I do that all day, every day. And now you're telling me no. And now the frustration comes in and the dog's pulling and you're pulling back. The dog's pulling and you're pulling back. Now you're creating more of that reflex to pull harder. Now you're yelling at your dog. Now you're popping the leash. Now you're hitting e-collars and you don't understand why you can't get this reactivity under control when you've trained your dog to do it every single day, countless numbers of times. It's not fair to the animal. Now, a lot of people say, well, you have to tell your dog the difference. That's great, but nobody is. No one's telling the dog the difference. And we see it over and over and over. Let's see what Drew said here. How do you propose socializing a puppy to get it comfortable around other dogs? Using friends with well-trained dogs in a structured environment, or do you not consider a puppy being around other dogs important at all? I think that concept is difficult for people to grasp. Well said, Drew. You're right. You're 100% right. Because the average person, when they hear socialization, they think their dog. Listen, I watched one of my neighbors the other day. They're not bad dogs. They're just out of control. And I watch, and two of my neighbors, both dogs are pulling like crazy. They're at one end of the leash, and the dogs are face to face going crazy. And leashes are getting tangled because people think, especially when it's the same breed, oh my gosh, they look just like each other. Let's say hello. The average person doesn't know. Here's the thing, Drew. Your dog should be comfortable, and puppies should be comfortable around other dogs, but they don't have to play with them. They become comfortable around other dogs when they believe in you, when they trust you, when they see the world through your eyes, when they know that they don't have to worry about anything around because the big dog is right at their side. That's when they don't care about it. You want them to be neutral, right? I'm not saying my dogs don't like other dogs, okay? Buddy wants to play with every dog, My golden doodle, he wants to play with every dog. Do I stop him from playing with dogs? No. When I have the right dog here, when I'm doing a board and train, especially one that I think it will benefit, Buddy's going to play with him because Buddy loves to play and he's great at it, right? He's great at it. He could take a beating. So if I have a dog that's a little too much, Mango's going to play with him because Mango will put a dog in their place very, very quickly, right? If I have an aggressive dog, if I'm going to use a dog off leash, it's going to be Luca because Luca has no interest in playing with any dog. I am still to this day his world. He will make like the dog's not even there. He's okay with other dogs. They could even say hello to him. They just better not be rude. And he doesn't want to play with other dogs. Dante, when I'm out there training with Dante, mostly playing, right? He could be sitting there in the grass right next to the sidewalk and people could walk dogs. I showed you guys on videos. People could walk by with their dogs and the people on the leash with their dogs are going crazy to get to Dante because he's 2 feet away from them. And I've filmed this for people to see. What is Dante doing? He might maybe look, but he's looking at me like, come on, Dad, let's have a good time. Let's play. I think you're amazing. You're like my superhero. And you know what I'm supposed to tell him? Dante, I'm going to try my best to be your superhero, buddy. I don't know if I could do that, but I'm going to try real hard to make you think I'm the greatest thing in the world. And then 5 minutes later, he does something where I want to wring his neck and I'm cursing and saying bad words at him. But the fact of the matter is he doesn't care. He doesn't care. So he's a dog that I could take any place, right? So when I just came back from St. Louis and he's in the hotel while I'm doing the seminar, when I go to take him out, I could let him run around next to a highway where I'd let him go to the bathroom. There's a highway there. There's a parking lot. There's a busy road. He's 14 months old. I don't have to have him on a leash. You know why? No matter what he sees, it's not more interesting than me. A rabbit, a deer, a dog, a cat barely even notices it because I provide everything to him that he needed. And so when I say 5 minutes of training and playing your puppy is more important than taking him to a puppy class, I'm not talking out of my ass. That's what I do. That's what I've shown. And I'm not the only one. If the greats weren't doing that, I wouldn't be trying to do and accomplish what they do. I'd be doing what works best. But the average dog owner is being lied to. And it's because there's huge money involved. Huge money, huge financial gain. And listen, like I said, I'm never going to crap on everyone's business. But if I'm asked, what do you think about this? I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie because my friends own a lot of these places. Believe me, they've cursed me out and told me to go F myself, and I don't get mad, but they know I'm going to be honest. And here's the thing, guys. If you're great at what you do, what someone says, especially someone like me who's so opinionated and has a big mouth, whatever I say or someone else shouldn't affect your business. Just shouldn't affect it. It will never hurt it as long as you're doing good work. It won't hurt. No one else can hurt your business if you're doing what you think you're doing. So there's never anything to worry about. You know what I mean? But the one good thing about that post was there was a lot of good conversation from it. And from what I could see, everyone was pretty civil, I think. All right, let's go through more. There's so many questions. Sophia, you should be here going through these questions for me. Bob Degger, again, all doggy daycares are not the same. My pup goes once or twice a week. It is at a facility where, oh, damn it, I lost it. Damn it, they just keep rolling in. Let's see. On the topic of unleashed dogs, what technique do you recommend when you have an unleashed dog charging at your dog? What happens to be dog reactive? There are a lot of irresponsible folks in my neighborhood and let their dogs have no recall off leash, and it ruins a lot of desensitization work I've done with my reactive dog. Here's the thing, Jimmy. You can't desensitize a dog to that. And you just answered your own question, right? It ruins what you've done. You're not going to desensitize a dog to that. What would be really effective that your dog needs to see? Your dog needs to see that it doesn't have to worry about that. You're going to step in front of it and deal with it, right? I talk about this all the time, and some people thought I was like a psychopath once, but you see these videos of dogs getting attacked and killed. In the exact situation you're talking about, I don't take a dog on a walk without a knife on me. I don't go on a walk without a knife, because if a dog attacks my dogs, I am not going to put my dog in that situation. And this is something in Kentucky happens a lot. If a dog comes after us, my dogs are going in a sit behind me. I'm stepping front, and then I'm going to slaughter that dog on the spot. Plain and simple. It's my responsibility to protect my animals or my clients' animals. And I have to do whatever I have to do to protect them. I'm not letting a dog get to my dogs. It's not going to happen. And just having something on you is going to give you peace of mind. Because if you don't have something to protect you and your animals, that stress level alone is going to create so many issues. And going for a walk with your dog should not be stressful. It should be enjoyable, right? But if I go someplace with my kids, I'm always armed. The only time I ever carry my gun anymore really is when if I'm with my kids, I'm going to have a gun on me, because I only truly have one job in this world, and that's to protect my wife and kids. 100%. And that's something I take very serious. So if we go someplace, that's what I don't understand, the concept of anti-gun people, right? And a lot of them are anti-police. So what do you do when shit goes down? Get on your knees and pray that you get lucky? No, I'm always going to protect what's mine, especially my kids and my wife. That's all there is to it, right? I can't imagine being put in a situation with my dogs, or especially my family, where I'd be helpless and you just hope that shit goes right. So for me, I'm going to be proactive and hopefully never have to do that, right? I've never had to cut a dog. But if I had to, I'm going to. You know what I mean? Have to do it. I don't let my wife go for a run without some kind of weapon on her. She's been attacked bad by a dog, right? She's been attacked really bad on a run before, and then when I show up to the guy's house, really unhappy, wearing a wife beater, not a good look. And I tell that guy, I'm going to kill your dog right in front of you now. And they're trying to tell me what a good dog it is. Then I find out it's bit 8 other people. An old man twice had the dog on the ground, had the guy on the ground mauling him. That's what we deal with out here, especially in the country, right? You got to protect your own, Got it. And here's the thing, guys. If you have a dog with no issues, great dog, no behavioral problems, you could take it anywhere. It could be off leash. Who cares what you do? Do what makes you happy. That's the bottom line. But the problem is most people that are subscribing to these things aren't in that position, right? I'm going to get a lot of hate from this live, but I thought it was important to talk about, and I'll discuss it with anyone. I will have plenty of room for new friend requests tomorrow. That I can promise you, you know. Let's see what we got here. Not all dogs like all dogs. Not all dogs like all people. Not all. Yeah, exactly, Chrissy. Isaiah. Phil, this may be your best live you've ever done for the average dog owner. Nothing too hard to understand and leads them into the right. Well, thanks, Phil. And listen, most of what I do is I try to target the average dog owner because let's face it, that's who's struggling. That's who's suffering. That's who's getting their money taken. They need help. They need help. And although there's so much information out there, how do you decipher what's good and what's bad, right? So we get people that spend $5, $6, $10,000. We just $10,000 to train a dog. You know, I don't understand that. If I take a dog in for a month, my board and train prices are $3,500. That's what I charge. That comes with pretty much lifetime support of that dog and many, many private sessions, right? Because a board and train doesn't train a dog. It doesn't train. I don't care what anyone says. It's temporary. It's temporary. For me, the board and train is lay a very solid foundation. Very solid foundation. The dog learns how to learn. The foundation is there. It's strong. That dog is crazy about you. And just when it's at a great place, now it goes home. You think that's going to last? No, the only way that lasts is if you see those people multiple times and educate them how not only to retain it, but how to keep progressing with it to get better and better. I used to do 2-week board and trains. And then I realized I was robbing people because you can't train a dog in 2 weeks. And it was a lot of stress on me. It was a lot of stress on the dog. I was constantly worried about getting it done. And even though I did follow-ups, it's not enough. And then when I saw the difference on week 3 from week 2, I was like, holy Jesus, it's like light years. Because it takes about 3 weeks for a dog just to get in there and really start getting it, man. That's where you see the dog start changing. After week 3, people doing 1-week board and trains. That's insane. It's just insane. So a lot of these things, yes, I'm opinionated. I get it. I got a big mouth. It's been worse since I retired because now I can say what I want. But it's coming from the heart. I'm being truthful. And in the end, I'm not selling anything. I have nothing to sell, right? That's the beautiful thing. I don't have to keep the lights on of a big facility. And so people keep asking me, why don't you do it now? You have the time, right? They think I could. Yeah, I could afford it. But the second I drop a fortune on this big giant facility, even if it's not so giant, and I have to hire a bunch of trainers, bunch of young trainers, the quality is going to go down. And now I can't give away the stuff that I like to give away to try to help people because I have to pay bills to keep that place running. And to me, that's not why I got into this. It's not what I love about it. I love the education that every single dog gives me. And I learn something every single day. And I know nothing when it comes to dog training, what there really is there to know, right? I hope once I'm doing this 50 years, if I'm still alive, that I could say, man, I actually know quite a bit now. But listen, at the 5-year mark, I really thought I knew everything. I was so fucking cocky and arrogant. And that's what built my business because I was good with the aggression. I took every aggression case there was. I didn't turn nothing down. Oh, this dog's going to kill. I'll take it because it was arrogance. It wasn't because I cared about the dog. I mean, of course I care about the dog, but it was straight up ego. It was arrogance. And I did it, right? Then at the 10-year mark, I was like, you know what? Man, I just work with this guy and there's a lot I don't know. You know, like there's still things I can learn. And 15, 20 years in, you realize you know shit. You know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. Right? So when I get somebody who's training dogs 5 years that wants to argue with me, I don't argue. It's okay, no problem. Do what you got to do. I used to. Now I don't. I just let him make a fool out of himself. That's it. And I wait till the people get desperate, and then I'll help if I have to. And you don't hear from them anymore, right? Because they're embarrassed. And it's not done to embarrass someone. But most people these days turn to boom, 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 or tap, tap, tap. That's what dog training's become. The polar opposite of the puppy socials and the doggy daycares. So where's that happy medium? Where is that happy medium? You know what I mean? The basics and the foundation and the relationship, it's everything. And someone else cannot build the relationship for you. You have to do that. You have to do that, right? You have to. But any questions on that? I don't want to keep you guys too long. There's a lot of comments here. I need someone to go through them because every time I try to click on one, a bunch more pop up. Listen, guys, I know it's a hard topic because it's so popular today and it's great business. I get it. And like I said, not everyone's on the same scale who are doing this. There's very experienced trainers that do this. It's not the same as someone doing it that's been training dogs for 2 and 3 years. It's not the same. It just isn't. But even there, even there, if Ivan Balabanov or Bart Balone started running puppy socials, I'm not sending my puppy there. I'm just not doing it. But guess what? They're never going to do that. They're not going to run a doggy daycare. If they were, would I send my dog there? No, because it's not what's best for the dog. And the best trainers in the world can't bring out the best in the dog in that situation. They just can't. Doesn't happen. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't know. What quote is that, Phil? What's up, Nick? You're late to the party. But any questions, guys? If not, I don't want to keep you guys too long. But I did think we had to. Yeah. Well, it's true. You know what I mean, Phil? It just is. It's just so. Listen, it's our job. I don't know. It's our job to develop the best dog we possibly can, right? No matter what the situation. You can't do that away from you. Okay? My dogs are real social, but that came from me. I raised them to be stable, right? Everyone talks about what is a balanced dog. I just want a stable dog that could be around other dogs. And if they want to play with other dogs, they can. I think the only time my puppies ever played with other puppies, ever, I think it was Mango. It was Mango. She definitely did, but I don't think I've ever done it before. And, I put up the video a couple of years ago. Friends of ours came up from Florida and they had a brand new little puppy, a mini Aussie, Australian Shepherd mini. Super cute, right? Mango was a brand new baby and she was super tiny. So, of course, we go out there and we put the puppies down and they're feeling each other out, right? And they start playing, but they're not really playing because it was very one-sided. And Mango was very pushy. The video, I'll try to find the video. Super cute to the human. We're all laughing, right? You hear us all laughing and it's so funny. And oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're so little. But if you really analyze that, all that did was teach Mango how to be a real pushy, dominant bitch with no manners. And it put that other puppy in an awful situation of being very submissive and bullied and beat up on. When her owners are right there allowing her to take it. When Mango's owner is right there, me, allowing her to do it. That's not healthy. That doesn't build a social dog, right? Building that foundation without the distractions where you could trust your dog and then venturing out the different situations and training your dog and playing with your dog. That's what builds a social dog. Okay, not being put in an artificial situation that is not genetically inside of a dog. I'm sorry, it just isn't. It just isn't, and that's why so many places you have to spay and neuter your dog or you're not allowed in. That's why I wasn't allowed in to board my dogs there. Why do something so unnatural to do something so unnatural? You got to just think sometimes, you know what I mean? But listen, like I said, if it's working for you and you have no problems with your dogs, do what makes you happy. That's what you should do, okay? Do what makes you happy. But if there's any issues, now I have a buddy who's a good trainer. He runs one of these, and so he's really pissed at me and has argued everything. It's okay. Let's have the argument. Tables, but my wife's going to kill me. He's argued this nonstop behind the scenes, right? And we talk, and he runs one, and he's experienced, so he's saying he could do it. Here's the problem: his own dog is reactive, not all the time, but quite often. And when his dog blows up, I'll just go, what is that? Oh, he just don't like certain dogs. Oh, well, shit. He lives at a social. Why isn't he more social, right? You know why? Because genetically, that's there inside that dog. And being put inside of a box with a bunch of other dogs isn't going to get rid of it. You don't change genetics. You can manage it the best you can, but those genes aren't going to change. Just not going to. And so putting a dog in that situation creates a lot of problems in a lot of situations, and it's not healthy. So a lot of times you're just rolling the dice. But like I said, I'll lose some friends over this, and that's too bad. But I'm always going to be honest. It's never done to diminish what someone does. But how could I say this without offending anyone? It doesn't matter. I don't want to say anything. Listen, people send private messages, right? A lot of dogs do real well in those situations. They do. It doesn't help them when they get out. It's just a fact. It's just the truth. If it wasn't, I'd be all for it. I really would. But it's a little after an hour now, so I'm gonna go play with some dogs now. Let Hustle out. God, I forgot how big that. I don't know if you guys remember Hustle, a German Shepherd. He's got to be the biggest German Shepherd on like the face of the planet. He is so enormous, and I love him. And we're gonna have a good time. And me and him are going to wrestle. And I guarantee you this: if I take Hustle out, he's not my dog. If I take him out and we do a lineup, me and each one of my dogs, who he does get along with and he's fine with, and I say, hey, Mr. Hustle, can you pick which one you want to play with? Me, Buddy, Luca, Dante, or Mango? 100% of the time, I could bet my life on it, he's going to go, you? I want to play with you. I said, okay, Hustle, let's go play. And that's just a fact. So he gets to do everything he's meant to do with me. And we take advantage of that. And we're going to have a good time. And in the middle of playing and wrestling and roughhousing and fighting, we say, Hustle, down. And he's going to down. I'm go, whoa, you're amazing, man. You're amazing, dude. That was really good. Hustle, down. Hustle, sit. Please go over there. Boom. Yes. Boom. Now the game's on. Right? It's important. Okay, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in on this Wednesday evening. Looks like we're getting really more bad storms here. This will get blown up, and a lot of people, are not going to be happy with me. I'm not doing it to ruffle any feathers, believe it, this time. Like, I literally looked through those 3 sentences I posted a bunch of times, and I'm saying, like, what did I say that was so untrue or so harmful? Because I looked at it and I know maybe it's that last sentence that 5 minutes of you playing and training with your puppy is way more valuable than an hour of a free for all puppy social. Like, how is that not factual? How could you disagree with that? I don't understand that. You have to have that interaction with your dog. Okay, let's do this. One last thing. And I think I said this before on the post, right? If you can only take your dog to puppy classes and socials and doggy daycare, or only spend a couple minutes a day training your dog yourself, where are you going to get a better dog? Where? You're going to get a better dog when you're doing it yourself and you're putting the time in. Now, a lot of people are going to say, why not both? Because everything you do on your own very often gets wiped out and hurt doing it in that type of social setting. It's not natural, okay? Creates a lot of problems, creates a lot of bad, unruly behaviors. All right. Now, if you can take your dog or puppy in a big space, indoors or outdoors, and while it's 50 yards from you and wrestling and having a good time and say, Fido, here, and he drops what he's doing and he comes flying into you, then you're doing something good, guys. Do what you want, have a good time. But if you can't do that, then that situation is hurting you. It's hurting your dog. So test that, do that, but you have to be able to do that, right? And I mean, if I'm allowing one of these dogs that I train here play with one of my dogs, I'm testing that right away. I am calling that dog off when it's in full wrestle match with one of my dogs. And if that dog doesn't come to me without e-collars, without tools, if he doesn't come to me, then what I'm allowing him do at that moment is not helping him, and it's not helping the owners. The owners are spending a lot of money for their dog to have an unruly good time, right? They sent their dog to a strip club instead of the university. That's all it comes down to, right? If I want to go to a country bar and have a good time, and I say, Steph, I'm going to go down to Nashville to a country bar, watch a band I like tonight, and I'm going to drink a lot and I'm going to have a good time, right? She might even say, take an Uber, have a good time. One time's not going to kill me. Well, with me, maybe it will. Who knows? But if I do that several times a week, several times a month, it's going to create some problems with the relationship here. It just is. There's nothing good that can come of that. And maybe that's a stupid analogy, but I think you see where I'm going. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. There's a lot of people on there. I'm sure it's going to be watched a lot, and we'll pick up more discussions, right? And just keep it civil. You got to respect everyone. As long as people are treating the animal properly with compassion, then we could talk. And that's, I think, what everyone was doing on that post. It seemed pretty civil, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So appreciate you all tuning in, guys. Have a good night. Peace.